if you're just, walking down the street, the learner listening right now, you probably wouldn't look twice at a random piece of quartz on the ground.
Right. Definitely not.
Or like a smooth river stone, your brain just automatically categorizes it. It's geology. It's totally inanimate. It's just a rock.
Yeah, just background scenery.
Exactly. But if you see, say, a stray USB drive sitting on a desk, you don't look at it and think it's just a little piece of plastic and metal.
No, because it holds something. It has a specific function.
Right. It stores information, or maybe it runs a program.
Well, the physical hardware is really just the vessel for the software, right? I mean, without the software, it's basically just a weird-looking paperweight. But with it, it becomes a highly functional tool.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that specific mental shift is exactly what we need for today's deep dive. We are exploring a stack of excerpts from the Wiccan Crystal Handbook, Energy, Ritual, and Manifestation.
A really fascinating text.
It really is. And our mission today isn't just to list off a bunch of pretty rocks. For anyone who is insanely curious about how ancient practices map onto modern mindfulness and intention setting, this material is an absolute goldmine.
It totally bridges that gap.
We are going to decode the highly structured, almost systematic way that crystals are utilized in Wicca, like how they're used as powerful, active tools for healing, protection, and spiritual growth.
And to start, we really have to establish the core foundational concept of this handbook. Because in Wicca, crystals are not viewed as inanimate objects at all.
Not even a little bit.
No, they are considered to be living entities. They're actually capable of absorbing, storing, and transmitting energy. So they aren't just sitting there looking beautiful on a shelf. They are active participants in the practitioner's spiritual work.
Wait, I'm trying to wrap my head around a rock having an active to-do list.
It sounds wild at first, yeah.
You're saying the text views a piece of quartz as a living entity with, like, a job. If they aren't just decorative paperweights, what exactly is their job description?
Well, according to the text, crystals are essentially energetic conduits. They act as this communicative bridge between the practitioner and the divine.
Okay.
So Wiccans use them to create sacred spaces, to shield against negativity, and to manifest desired outcomes. The handbook actually explains that because crystals grow deep within the earth over millions of years, they develop this highly organized, really stable molecular structure.
Right, the geometric lattice stuff.
Exactly. And in Wiccan philosophy, this perfect internal structure allows them to hold a very stable energetic frequency.
Oh, I see.
So when human energy, which, let's be honest, is often super chaotic and disorganized by stress or our emotion when that comes into contact with the crystal, the stone actually helps pull that chaotic human energy back into alignment.
So if I'm conceptualizing this right, it's a bit like a tuning fork. You strike a tuning fork, it holds a perfect, completely stable note, and then you adjust your own instrument to match that perfection.
That's a great way to look at it.
Or maybe like a magnifying glass. Like the glass doesn't create the sunlight, right? It just takes the ambient light that's already there, pulls it into a tight, concentrated beam, and then you can literally start a fire with it.
That is a very precise analogy. The crystal is essentially the focusing lens.
But that makes me wonder about the mechanics here. Like, if the crystal is just a tuning fork or a lens transmitting energy, does the crystal actually do the work? Or is the practitioner's intention the actual power source and the crystal is just the hardware?
What's fascinating here is that the text describes it as a deeply symbiotic relationship. It's not an either-or scenario at all.
Also, it's a partnership.
Right. The crystal brings its own specific metaphysical properties to the table, like its own unique energy signature. But that energy remains somewhat dormant or undirected until it interacts with the human element.
It needs a user.
Exactly. The crystal enhances and amplifies the human intention. So the practitioner provides the specific goal, and the crystal provides the energetic resonance and the sheer amplification to push that goal out into the universe.
Okay, so if we stick with this idea that crystals function like energetic vessels or tuning forks, then logically they can't maintain that perfection forever. I mean, if a tuning fork gets covered in rust, it won't ring true anymore.
No, it would be totally muted.
So the handbook spends a lot of time on maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just buy a stone at a random shop and immediately sit down and start a ritual.
Oh, absolutely not. The maintenance is strictly non-negotiable in Wiccan practice. The text outlines a very specific two-part mechanical process for this: cleansing and charging.
Let's start with cleansing.
So cleansing is all about removing negative energy that the crystal might have picked up. Because they are conduits, like we said, they naturally absorb the chaotic energy around them. Before you can use one, you have to completely empty it out.
Wait, how exactly does a practitioner do that? Do you just, like, wash it with dish soap in the sink?
Not quite soap, no. The handbook details several methods that rely heavily on natural elements. So you can smudge the crystal, which involves burning herbs like sage or sweetgrass.
Oh, I've heard of smudging.
Right, and the text explains the actual mechanics of this. The smoke is believed to bind to the dense negative energy attached to the stone, and it literally carries it away as the smoke dissipates into the air.
That's incredibly visual.
It is. Alternatively, you can bury the crystal in the ground, allowing the earth to absorb and neutralize the heavy energy. Or you can bury it in a bowl of sea salt, because salt is viewed as a natural energetic absorbent.
Like a sponge.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can physically and energetically wash it by just running it under a natural stream of cold or lukewarm water.
Okay, and then charging is the flip side of that process. Once it's empty, you have to fill the battery back up.
Precisely. You've removed all the static, and now you need to give it a full charge. Charging methods include leaving the crystal out in direct sunlight or moonlight for a few hours so it can absorb that raw celestial energy.
What if it's cloudy?
Well, practitioners also use active visualization. So they hold the stone and simply imagine a bright, blinding white light entering the crystal, filling its internal lattice with positive, active energy.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the way this is described, it is exactly like clearing the cache on your web browser.
Ah, I like that.
Seriously. When your computer gets sluggish because it's bogged down with old corrupted data and tracking cookies,
Yeah.
you have to clear the cache so the system runs faster. You're resetting the hardware.
It's a perfect modern equivalent.
But I noticed there is a third step in the maintenance phase that goes completely beyond the tech metaphor. It's not just cleanse and charge, it's cleanse, charge, and say thank you.
Yes, gratitude.
The text really emphasizes expressing gratitude to the crystal.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm treating it like a tool, I don't thank my hammer after I drive in a nail.
And that right there is the fundamental difference between a piece of hardware and a Wiccan spiritual tool. Because crystals are viewed as living entities with consciousness of their own, skipping that expression of gratitude is seen as breaking a sacred bond.
Wow, really? Just by forgetting to say thanks.
Yeah, it's not just about being polite. It's an actual functional requirement. Disrupting that bond disrupts the harmonic flow of energy that's required for a successful ritual.
Oh, I get it.
You are partnering with this entity, you're not exploiting it. Gratitude closes the loop and essentially maintains the health of that partnership.
Okay, so the cache is cleared, the battery is full, and the partnership is established with a sincere thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But, imagine sitting down at an altar with 30 different stones in front of you.
It can be overwhelming.
Exactly. How does a practitioner avoid picking the energetic equivalent of a megaphone when they actually just need a pair of noise-canceling headphones? The handbook reveals this highly specific, color-coded, energetic filing system, right?
It does. It's an incredibly detailed taxonomy based on metaphysical properties. Let's break down some of the specific stones and their color categories as they're detailed in the text.
Yeah, walk us through the main ones.
So first you have clear quartz, or basically the white and transparent crystals. These represent purity, clarity, and protection. The text describes clear quartz as this massive amplifier. They call it the master healer.
So what's it used for?
It's used to cleanse spaces, focus the mind, or even amplify the power of other crystals it's placed next to.
Oh, so it's the ultimate multi-tool. It boosts everything else. What about the colored stones?
Then you get into things like amethyst, the purple crystals. These are heavily tied to spiritual growth in the mind. The handbook explicitly states they are used for opening the third eye.
The third eye. That sounds intense.
Well, in this context, the third eye isn't literal, obviously. The text defines it as the conceptual energy center located in the middle of the forehead, which governs intuition, foresight, and psychic awareness.
Okay, that makes sense.
Amethyst stimulates that center while simultaneously warding off negative psychic energy or psychic attacks.
What about the warmer colors? Like if purple is for the deep mind, where do we go for, action?
That brings us to citrine, which encompasses those vibrant orange and yellow vibes. Citrine is the ultimate manifestation stone for abundance, prosperity, and joy.
So it's a happy stone.
Very much so. It's associated with the solar plexus, the center of willpower. The text notes it's used to help secure really tangible goals.
Like what kind of goals?
Like manifesting a new home or giving you a boost when going in for a crucial job interview. It brings a very active, communicative, and creative energy to the table.
And I assume for love and relationships, we are looking at the pinks and reds.
You'd be exactly right. Rose quartz is the classic example here. It's dedicated to opening the heart chakra.
And chakras are.
Right. The handbook describes chakras as conceptual hubs or wheels of energy aligned straight down the center of the body. The heart chakra governs our ability to give and receive love.
So rose quartz is for romance.
Actually, it's broader than that. Rose quartz is used for promoting compassion and, very importantly, healing deep emotional wounds. It's less about fiery, chaotic passion and much more about finding deep emotional peace and harmony.
And then there is the heavy artillery, the dark stones.
Yes, the black crystals, obsidian, black tourmaline, hematite, smoky quartz. These are your heavy-duty grounding and protection shields.
How do they work?
They are described as literal energetic sponges. They absorb, trap, and deflect negative energies to keep the practitioner totally safe from external harm.
I see. So earlier I compared this to selecting an app on your phone, but honestly, looking at this whole color-coded taxonomy, it feels much more organic than that.
How so?
It's more like a master gardener knowing exactly what type of soil and fertilizer a specific seed needs. You wouldn't plant a delicate orchid in heavy, dense clay, right? And you wouldn't plant a sturdy oak tree in light, sandy topsoil.
That's a really lovely way to phrase it.
If you want emotional healing, you plant your intention in the rose quartz. If you need a protective wall, you anchor it in the black tourmaline. And what really stands out to me is the psychological overlap here.
Oh, absolutely.
The physical color of the stone completely aligns with basic human psychological associations. Red and orange for passion and energy. White for purity. Black for heavy grounding.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that color alignment is absolutely central to how Wicca operates as a nature-based religion. Wicca relies heavily on these natural visual cues from the earth to anchor abstract spiritual intentions.
Because we're such visual creatures.
Exactly. Human beings are incredibly visual. When we see the color purple, we have centuries of cultural and psychological conditioning that instantly associates it with royalty, mysticism, and the deep mind.
Right.
So when a practitioner holds an amethyst, they are utilizing that deep psychological conditioning to help their own mind focus on intuition. The stone provides a tangible earthly anchor for an entirely intangible human desire.
An earthly anchor for an intangible desire. Wow.
Yeah.
That really bridges the gap between just a rock on the ground and a structured spiritual tool.
Yeah.
So we understand the philosophy, the rigorous maintenance routine, and the specific color-coded toolkit.
Of the foundation, yeah.
Let's look at how all these elements actually combine in active, practical Wiccan rituals. Let's start with grounding.
Grounding is a foundational practice to bring the practitioner into balance with the natural world. And as we mentioned, it utilizes those dense, dark stones. The handbook gives a very specific, almost visceral visualization technique for this.
Walk us through it. What does the practitioner actually do in the moment?
So you sit quietly and hold your cleansed black stone, say, a piece of black tourmaline, right in your hands. You focus intensely on the physical weight and the temperature of the stone.
Okay.
Then you deliberately slow your breath. You begin to imagine a thick, glowing root growing from the very base of your spine, extending down through the floorboards, through the soil, and deep down into the core of the earth.
Wow, that's vivid.
It has to be. You visualize drawing up, balancing, stabilizing ancient energy through that root and directly into your nervous system. Simultaneously, you visualize the black crystal absorbing any of your erratic, anxious, or negative energy, literally trapping it within its dense structure so it can't harm you.
It's an incredibly physical visualization.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see how that would literally calm your nervous system totally, regardless of your spiritual belief.
Oh, without a doubt. It forces you to be entirely present in your body. Now, next, the text covers manifestation.
Okay, bringing desires into reality.
Right. Here, you choose the appropriate stone. Let's use citrine for that job interview we talked about. You set a clear intention, and you visualize the outcome in vivid detail while holding the crystal. You are actively programming the stone's lattice with your goal. But then comes a crucial and sometimes kind of counterintuitive step.
What's that?
Releasing the energy afterward.
Right. This is exactly where I have to pause you.
Yeah.
Because the handbook says you release the energy by placing the crystal out in the sun, tossing it into a body of water, or literally burying it in the earth.
Yes, that's the release phase.
But why on earth would you bury it or throw it away right after you've just spent all this time perfectly programming it? Isn't that like taking a battery you just spent hours charging and immediately throwing it in the trash?
I can see why it looks that way.
Shouldn't you keep it in your pocket where the energy can actually help you.
This raises an important question about the actual mechanics of magical practice, according to the text. In Wicca, holding onto the energy indefinitely actually creates stagnation.
Stagnation.
Yeah. If you keep the crystal in your pocket and obsess over it day after day, you are basically hoarding the energy and suffocating the intention with anxiety.
Ah, so you're trapping it, it can't breathe.
Exactly. Releasing it by putting it in the sun or burying it is the actual mechanism that allows your intention to go out into the universe to manifest the desired outcome.
Oh, I see.
Think of it like a seed. You can hold a seed in your hand forever, but it will never grow into a plant until you bury it in the dark and let it go. You have to trust the earth to do the rest of the work.
I love that. You have to bury the seed to let it grow. That makes total sense.
And this really highlights how actively engaged the practitioner must be. Crystals aren't just passive objects that magically do the work for you while you sit back and watch TV.
Right, it's not a shortcut.
They require continuous visualization, interaction, and profound trust in the process. The text even details advanced practices like creating crystal grids.
I saw that mentioned. What exactly is a grid in this context?
A crystal grid involves placing multiple cleansed and charged stones in highly specific geometric patterns, usually on an altar or the floor. The geometry is meant to connect the energy fields of the different stones, much like wiring a circuit board to create a massive combined energetic frequency for really complex manifestations.
So if one stone is a tuning fork, a grid is an entire symphony orchestra playing a specific chord.
That's a perfect analogy. And that level of active, focused engagement leads right into the third practical application mentioned in the text, which is divination.
Gaining insight into the future.
Or uncovering hidden truths about a current situation, yes.
Well, when I hear divination, my mind immediately goes to the classic, pop culture image of the fortune teller hunched over a glowing crystal ball. Does the handbook actually talk about that?
It does, but it explains the mechanics behind it. Divination relies on the belief that crystals can pick up on incredibly subtle energies and vibrations that the conscious human mind usually filters out completely.
So it bypasses our mental filters.
Right. The text mentions a few distinct tools. Crystal balls are used for a practice called gazing or scrying.
How does scrying actually work? Do you just stare at it until a movie plays in the glass?
Not quite a literal movie, no. Scrying often involves gazing deeply into a crystal ball or a scrying mirror, which is usually a piece of perfectly polished black stone, like obsidian.
Okay.
The practitioner stares into the reflective, uniform surface in a dimly lit room. The goal is to induce a light trance state.
Like self-hypnosis.
Very similar. By depriving the eyes of sharp, distinct visual input, the deep subconscious mind begins to project its own intuitive imagery, symbols, or impressions right onto the surface.
That is fascinating. It's almost like a controlled sensory deprivation technique to just force your intuition to the surface. What about pendulums?
Pendulums are another major tool. This is typically a pointed crystal suspended on a chain. The practitioner holds the chain steady and asks a question. The belief is that the crystal taps into those subtle universal vibrations, and it literally swings in a specific direction to answer yes or no.
Wow.
But the handbook notes that the practitioner must first calibrate it.
Calibrate it. Like a machine.
Kind of, by asking it to show me yes and show me no to establish the energetic baseline before starting the actual reading.
It all comes back to that magnifying glass concept. Whether it's scrying or using a pendulum, the crystal is focusing the subtle energies so the practitioner can tune into them.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a massive amount of ground today, from treating stones as living energetic tuning forks, to the elaborate mechanics of cleansing and color coding, to the really visceral practices of grounding and divination.
It's a very comprehensive system.
It really is.
Yeah.
But bringing this directly back to you, the listener, whether you are actively building a Wiccan altar in your home, or you are just someone looking for a new, tangible way to center your mind before a highly stressful meeting, the text we explored today highlights something really profound.
Absolutely.
It offers a beautiful, highly structured method for focusing human intention. It's about finding balance, visualizing your goals in vivid detail, and mindfully connecting with the natural world around you instead of just blindly floating through it.
It is an incredibly robust framework for mindfulness, cloaked in ancient tradition. And looking at all of this, it leaves us with a fascinating, entirely new perspective to consider.
What's that?
Well, the handbook speaks of these stones transmitting energy and affecting our reality. But if we look at modern psychology, we know about the staggering power of the placebo and nocebo effects, like how human belief can literally alter brain chemistry, lower blood pressure, and physically change the body. When a practitioner holds a rose quartz, slows their breathing, and actively visualizes emotional healing, their nervous system undeniably responds. Their cortisol levels actually drop. Their reality shifts.
That's a biological fact.
Yes. So does the magic reside deep within the ancient geometric lattice of the stone itself? Or is the stone simply the perfect earthly key required to unlock the staggering biological power of the human mind to heal itself?
That is the ultimate question. When you look at that pebble on the ground, is it just geology? Or is it the key to unlocking your own biology? Something to think about the next time you see a stone catching the sunlight.